Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Kurosh, joined always by my co-hosts, Daniel Vargas.
Prawns.
And Dan Jang.
Good morning.
If you're not familiar with what we do, we come to you each and every morning to podcasting services of your choice. We sit here around some tables, around some fountains, in some parks, sometimes permitted, talking about nerdy stuff, comics, games, movies, everything in between. We come on Mondays, and it's iTunes, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere. We've been doing that for now, we're on episode 141. I am a complete natural at this.
141 weeks
of DLC.
Of DLC you later.
Coming right at you. Yeah. Yeah, of that catchphrase. And yeah, what we do, we each come up with a topic. So if this is your first time, welcome.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, this is a hell, you always pick, everyone's got their first, so. Last week, we had a bit of a topic about the Blizzard boycotts and China and how it all kind of like related and makes this bigger topic. We're starting this week off with Jang's topic, which is...
Let's bring it back.
LeBron it back. So LeBron pretty much responded to the general manager of the Houston Rockets tweets saying that he's misinformed and he needs to think about the repercussions of what he says because it affects, financial people's lives. And so LeBron's kind of in hot water with protesters. So what are your thoughts on LeBron's tweets or response?
I think LeBron's extremely naive because everything he's saying is exact. He's saying what you say has consequences, and yet he's saying something that is causing these issues. He's just not thinking he's. It's funny, he's saying something without thinking about himself at this point. Not in a good way, in a bad way. Not realizing everything he's saying is also pertaining to him, in the sense. But yeah, the thing is, I feel like he has good intentions. He doesn't want to stir the pot. But the thing is, people will say, if you're neutral, then you're usually, for the cause. You're not helping...
You're against them, pretty much.
It's still, it depends on one side. So if you're not doing anything, then you're allowing everything to be suppressed, essentially. That's what, at least for this one. No? You don't agree with that?
Well, then every player is against it?
Yeah.
By just, not saying it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, then, any
I'm against
random...
it, too, because I haven't said anything about it either.
We have, last week, episode 140. You said something.
But I'm not doing anything.
Well, I mean, doing some... You could say that loosely, raising awareness. Doing
I'm
some,
not, though.
But I do agree with, what you're saying, that, him saying words will stir the pot and have impacts is doing exactly that. I don't know. I that's the biggest takeaway is what were you in saying something? I feel like a lot of celebrities and sports athletes, I should say, either need to be aware or are aware that they have a voice that a lot of people take with heavy importance, and what impact does that have? What does that do to you? What does that do to what you're a part of, you are associated with, and what is your intention to take those things? And yeah, I don't know. I don't think what he said helped anything. I don't know. What do you think, Jane?
My gripe is this guy's he's a very active social warrior, justice warrior. And for him to say something, it's not the statement that bothers me, it's how he first brought up money. That's what bothers me. So he's it impacts people, and then he said financially.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came out, and then to me, it's about the money. It just, if he said it impacts people, it, blocks their freedom, but he said the money thing first.
He's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
That's what bothers me about it, is he brought the money thing up first. I think his response was good intentions as well, but just the fact that he put money first, as the response is just
You
like,
seem like that's
I was like, ooh.
like a like a subconscious decision where he's like he said.
But you see where his
financially-
mind's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, like, whether or not politics and stuff should stay out of sports or stay out of competitions and stuff. But, like, yes and no, because a lot of people will, like, to fight for an uprising or to be a symbol of something. I've seen in past Olympics to try to, like, overcome a lot of oppression. They will achieve excellence and through their actions. And when they have that stage, they, like, raise their fist
Yeah.
and it's a powerful thing, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. So it's like, it's kind of like sad seeing people trying to shut that down in the wrong ways and also trying to put it up in negative ways. I don't know. I feel like it's abuse of that symbol or that potential power. It's like tarnishing it.
This may be a hot take, but I can see where, okay, let's say money was the factor. Like, I do believe you shouldn't bite the hand that feeds you, especially if you need that job. But LeBron is not hurting for money. And, like, to me, it's like he dropped the ball. Like, he can live off what he has right now and stand up for something. I don't know. To me, I would stand up for what's right if I could afford it.
But the
if
thing
I'm in a
is-
bad position where...
Didn't the NBA also have troubles like a year or two ago where like a lot of players went on strike? Like, I'm just trying to think of general NBA troubles. I remember like refs or something. There was something.
I don't
Did you
know.
guys follow it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
The
I
only
thought
thing
it was
remember
something
is
where
the NFL, the whole.
wasn't there players that like just stopped playing because they were like
Oh,
certain
no, I
things
don't
not
remember
being. I thought a season of basketball like shut down or something. I don't know. I'm not in the know. If any viewers are, would be inform us. That'd be great. But I'm just saying like general like stability of a sport. Like I know football, like you guys were saying, like it's been like crazy. Like because some people have been like the Kaepernick stuff, all this other stuff. But like NBA, I wasn't sure how stable they were as an infrastructure of like sports and basketball and stuff. So
I think at this point for LeBron though, it's like not about the money. It's about connections, and you know you can't piss off the wrong people. Like it ruins things for you. And although he doesn't need anything maybe from someone, I think like I think he's worried about hurting other people within his group, like his social group. Like if I do something wrong, someone won't support my friend anymore, you know, and he does need help, you know, or he does need this thing.
plus, I mean, this is speaking from an outsider, but like I feel like everyone involved in NBA is well paid. So for him to be concerned about any sort of financial distress, I'm like, is it for like your viewers or for like who? Because I don't know. I might be not informed well, but I'm like, you guys are pretty well paid with all these sponsorships,
Yeah.
sports, you know, just the contracts you guys have. It's like in the millions and stuff. It's like fucking. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit about.
You know,
Who are you protecting?
Again, I feel like he is trying to be neutral, but like in that sense, he's not. He's helping the oppressors. He's helping.
Instead of saying a blanket, I feel like by targeting an individual on one of the two sides, it paints him in a picture of being on the other side rather than like saying something, hey, I'm going to say something about him and about them. I feel like that would have been taken. Like if he wanted to in hindsight be more neutral, that would have been maybe he's like, you know, it's distressing these ideas that like other countries, like what you mentioned the other last week, where it was like, it's kind of alarming when like another country has influence over a lot of what's impacting us in America of like what we do and can't do. And I'm like, I've been thinking about it more and more. I'm like, I don't like that. And so like that could be a point. And then on the other side, it's like, okay, well, these other people that are a part of these organizations also have impacts in how they react or how they say things. And so maybe he should maybe be like, let's be on a united front and make a single voice, a strong voice or some.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But ultimately, dude, he is one individual, but he is a very famous individual. But these headlines are literally just what they are. It's clickbait to get views. You know, like they know that bringing LeBron's name into a headline is going to bring sports fans to read what's going on.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so I don't know, like.
It's noise.
Yeah, it's noise. Yeah, it's noise in this giant.
Well, it also makes me think of like how, I mean, not to the same extremity or intensity, but like I feel like the person I always think of in Hollywood or in just in celebrity world that does hot takes like that is Kanye. I mean, he gets political all the time, and it's almost like normal.
Yeah, slavery was a choice. I mean, it's just is what it
It's
is.
like
Not our words.
no, yeah,
Kanye's right.
thumbnail. No,
out of context.
yeah, Kanye's words, but
Hey,
like,
it's fine. I said it though. Guys. You guys are safe.
no, by association, you're financially impacting all of us.
Ah, shit. Should have been neutral.
Look at our studio.
It's already started.
It's been going. What's it called? No, but like he says all kinds of crazy shit, and like I don't know, this kind of like
I also think he's not mentally stable.
sure, but
I
like
think he has a lot of issues
I would
going on.
argue that about any celebrity. It's like how meant like what kind of life like.
I would broaden that and say everyone has mental issues.
Okay. Point made. But yeah,
I've got issues. Help me.
Kanye level. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts on it?
I just wish more people would take a stand and fight for the
What-
right side of history.
You can take a stand.
I know, but I'm nobody, dude. Like,
Doesn't matter.
like people with influence.
You can become the next Greta when
I
it comes
just,
to
I just feel it's
to
just
China.
it's just weird that South Park is the one that's making a stand. Out of everyone, it's fucking South Park. Like it's not anyone else.
I'm not surprised by it. Like South Park is satirical, but in
Yeah,
a
but I
sense,
mean,
it's
I
also
would-
rebellious.
I would
and-
also think that more, not just South Park. Name another person that's taken a stand.
no, but like South Park has done a lot of like. Not obviously not to the not to like a political statement like this scale, but they've done things where like they
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm just surprised that they're the only one. Name another,
Yeah.
name another celebrity.
Well, no,
or-
I can't
yeah.
obviously, but it's not surprising that it is South Park.
oh
guess is
yeah,
what I'm
I
saying.
mean that's not surprising. I'm just
Who
surprised
else-
that it's only South
Yeah,
Park.
yeah.
okay.
I mean, it like just imagine you're even with clout and influence and stuff. A country is like you getting in the eyes of the red target of a country, and it's not just it's
But-
not like I'm not saying this to defend
Yeah,
China,
yeah.
but I'm like. Of all countries, it's not like Guam or like some other Siam or like this like
It's motherfucking China.
it's
But movements have always been started by one person, and
no,
that's
yeah.
how revolution
change. I think it just adds further testament to those that do have that clout and stuff and still say something. But like, I'm trying to think of myself in the psyche of like, I have nothing. Like, I could just like stay out of this, or I could stand up and like, what do I say? Does it help? Does it hurt? And I think that's a lot to weigh on someone's head. But yeah, I'm curious, like, what support comes from where? Like, will it be Hollywood? Will it be in people on YouTube banding together? Will it be just I don't know nonprofit groups or what? Because I know there's like protesters rallying here and in like other countries, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
I'm just worried. The people of Hong Kong won't stand down. The government of China won't stand down. It's just I don't know how.
It's
It's bad.
it's a crazy battle to think of, like.
But like to think of like how like we talked kind of like briefly, but like it goes as deep as like even Disney, and all the things that we were like, oh, these are like the good, like Hallmark, American kind of companies, and like we're actively like, how do you not support all these things? Like all of a sudden be like, okay, I can't let my money go to all of them, and make a stand.
We're canceling this Disney trip, guys. Sorry.
I don't know. And it like that's on a like entertainment level, like on a very basic level, like, oh, this shirt I bought just happens to be I don't know.
I mean,
like, where do you
fuck,
stop
At this
it?
point, it's like 75% of fucking shirts are like made in China or something. You know, or shoes or like a lot. Like there's so much that
Electronics.
comes from China, but it's not like on a global I don't know, like on a certain scale, it's not like much. There isn't much change to it, like it's like when like I'm gonna compare it to like global warming or like climate change. Like we're told that like if we make small changes, if I take shorter showers, if I don't have my air conditioning on just as long, But the amount of that affects compared to a corporation changing things that they need to change on their level is huge. Like, we're not doing much compared to what a corporation would stop if they stop dumping shit into the ocean, if they stop doing all this crazy shit. You know, like, they're putting blame on us when it's the corporations that are doing, like, they have it's on the scale that they're doing things. That's what's causing the huge effect. And that's where we'll see the change if it starts changing. But they're blinding us by saying, like, no, it's on you. If you start using paper straws, you'll save the world. You know, like, it's not to that scale with us. It's at that corporate level, at the business level, and same thing with China. Like, even though we buy these products, it's still large businesses that are buying it. Like, even though we haven't bought it yet, even though I don't own that shirt yet, it's already, like, been purchased from China and it's now in the U.S. You know, like, the fact that I'm not buying it isn't going to change much. It's going to stay there. It's going to circulate within the economy. At some point, someone's going to own it, you know, regardless. So it's just, that's why I'm saying,
I mean,
like,
yes and no, because it's like, part of it's like, yeah, I'm just one person, but at the same time, every time, like, the same environmental things, like, every one person can eventually, like,
it helps, but that's not the turning point. That's not what we need to do to
it's not going to be like one big swift action. It's going to be a bunch of little things.
But the big action would be to put it on corporations and have them start changing things. That's how I see it. And same thing with China. Like, us individually saying I'm not going to purchase this anymore is a huge deal compared to saying, like, a corporation's going to stop buying from China. That's just how I see it.
Overwatch canceled an event today in New York because of people.
Because they were scared. Who's are coming out?
Hey, BlizzCon's canceled.
I want my money back then.
I'm sure they will. If it gets canceled.
I don't know. China's like, no.
We need to prove who's got his money.
Blizzard's like, so we have Blizzard's like,
oh bother.
Blizzard's like, we're part of this, or we're in this cancel culture, so we're canceling and not refunding anything back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what'll happen next.
Yeah.
Is NBA have their season right now?
It's like preseason, I think.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So soon. They need
Because football is having their
They
stuff.
need to put bandages all over this before, like, you know.
Dude, people are gonna have signs up at games. I know it.
Secret ones too. They'll be
Like,
like,
at basketball
it'll be like
games?
flipped
Yeah.
around, and then they'll flip it right up, and it says "Free Hong Kong."
But they might get kicked out.
Oh no, they will. Yeah, people that show those signs will immediately.
They already were at, like, esports the stuff. And they were at basketball games. I heard about that. Yeah.
There was a.
They do that at WWE events all the time. If there's a
Hearthstone-
sign they don't want shown, they, like, will eject them or take their sign or something.
Yeah, on one of the Hearthstone games, it was like against two college teams.
Mhm.
One of the teams showed "Free Hong Kong," and then they cut to the other team, and then they were like, "Oh, we're not going to punish them," you know, blah blah blah. And they're like, "This is bullshit. Like, just because we're Americans and we're not, like, you know, of a different ethnic group, you guys aren't going to punish us. Like, no, we're forfeiting. We're leaving the thing or whatever. We're like, we're not letting you, like, try to, like, to damp this, you know, like, make it just go away by allowing, like, nothing happening, by not reprimanding it."
What do you think? Like, this is very extreme, very, like, it would take a lot to get to this point. But imagine things just escalating to the point where, like, whoever's running these, like NBA's site or, like, CNN's site or whatever, like, people just start mass overloading their sites. Twitch, everyone's putting stuff up that, like, Twitch is like, we can't censor everyone, we can't ban everyone. Everything just starts, like, going, like, people are like, no, we need to stand up, take a ride. Things start, like, getting, like, crazy, and eventually someone's just like, pull the plug or, like, something, and they're like, they go to all the major internet providers and they just, like, shut down the internet.
I don't think it would get that crazy, but, like, I would see, like, if CNN was getting overwhelmed, I would see CNN be like, you know, bring the site down. Like,
No, I'm saying, like, across. I'm hypothetical, but, like, I know other countries have had this happen to them, and we're like not a third world country or anything, but, like, their internet gets shut down, and people are like, I can't text, I can't do this.
China's like that.
Yeah,
Like,
and they
you can't
do, like,
search Winnie the Pooh.
well, yeah,
It's banned.
search, yeah, but, like, there's other forms of text where it's, like, proximity based,
Yeah.
so they can still communicate
Yeah, yeah.
digitally. And I'm like, what would it take, or how far would it get to that point?
I don't think you'll never get shut down.
No,
I
Internet?
would say, like, at least with the U.S., I would like to think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not. Like,
Not
it
in the
can't
US.
happen. Like, because it's not only that, but we have like a market in where it isn't one person making decisions. Where I think in like what you're saying with China or like where else did they shut down? Like
other countries, smaller.
They have like I feel like there's one person that can make a decision and be like shut it down. Like they go to those negotiations and they're like, you shut this down or else we're not helping you out with anything. But I think with you're asking me what would it take, and I can't fathom it. Like that's how crazy it is to me. Like I can't even fathom what it would take for that to happen.
No, I agree.
But Trump, that it would take Trump. Trump could do it. Trump could be like, he would threaten everyone. I'll sue you.
No, he wouldn't do it because then he couldn't tweet.
Well, he'll be the only one tweeting. Like,
no one's gonna see it. No one's gonna see it.
That's true.
Doesn't matter.
200 IQ.
He won't
Impeach
think
Prez.
that far ahead. He won't think that far ahead.
Impeach
He'll
the
be like,
Prez.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, dude.
All right, next topic.
Mine?
Go for it.
Okay, so mine was
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite had Act 2, is it what they're calling it?
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. And what they did is they shut down Fortnite
See,
for like
it's not that crazy.
2 or 3 days.
How many people play Fortnite?
During
how many
Trump's
people
time.
are in America?
Trump, dude.
It's the same.
They shut it down. So the whole event that happened is
Well, it was so legit that people were like, "Wait, did I lose all the money I spent on that bat?" Like kids were like, "I need."
because they were keeping silent. They weren't.
Yeah,
saying,
no,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
They made it that legitimate
Yeah.
that people were like actively concerned. Like, I just spent money on this. Did I lose it? Is this game done? So
We's done. But yeah, like so, an event happened in game where it caused just a black hole to happen, and then all you see if you log in, all you see is a black hole. Like there's nothing else.
have you seen the pranks where people like log onto their streams and all of a sudden someone's like show their ass?
Yeah, I've seen the Mario one where he's spreading his cheeks. It's the hole.
Goat.
I just saw this streamer like, "Oh, what's this event?" And he clicks it. He's like, he's rushing to close it, and then he's like, and then like 30 seconds pass, he starts chuckling. I'm like,
Got him.
There was like jokes about leaks of like what the future content's gonna
Yeah.
be, and it's like it shows the black hole. All of a sudden, like it like zooms in. You see the other side of the black hole, and it's like the this German singer that goes.
"Oh, that guy? Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it."
and I'm like, oh,
all the
man,
memes.
this is ridiculous, dude. But yeah, so they it shut down. It was like 3 days, I think. I don't know how long it
2
was.
days.
2 days. And now the game's back up again, and it's running perfectly fine.
Wait.
But you guys,
2 days. Yeah.
yeah, 2 or 3 days. I don't remember. What's crazy though? Oh no, it was on a week. It was weekdays, right?
It happened.
Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday.
Saturday. Yeah, it happened Saturday and came back Monday.
So shut down for a while. And do you think that was like a genius move on their part, or do you think like they were like on a razor's edge and like they didn't hit the mark very well? I know Jing's opinion.
They were dying, and they needed to do something crazy. And I think this sparked the interest, but their trailer did not entice me to come back in. But like I said, it's a genius move, but they have to do something crazy cool.
See, but their market is kids,
Right.
and they
Is it though?
kids give into the hype very easily.
I
Right.
think everyone gives into the hype. I wouldn't just say just
I didn't
kids.
give into the hype. I don't care.
Okay, you're not a kid.
That's why they're no.
Got
but,
you. But you're no.
uh,
No. Oh god.
I do agree with you. Their market's kids, and they have a hardcore fucking market. Because Lady Gaga tweeted, "What's
It was
Fortnite?"
a joke though, because
I
she
know-
also
I
misspelled
know,
Fortnite.
but you know how many people got
Yeah.
debated? You know how many people
Yeah.
fucking responded to that?
Yeah,
Like,
it was news.
What the fuck? You don't know?
It was
fucking-"
news.
I'm like, dude, you guys got fucking trolled.
Internet.
You guys got trolled. You guys took the bait. And then this guy wrote a comment. He's like, Fortnite's for losers. I'm like, don't take the bait. And people responded to that guy. I'm like, you guys got fucking debated, dude.
fork knife? What is this fork
I
knife?
do agree. Market is kids and they're hardcore.
But yeah,
So-
like I do think it was a genius marketing plan because it caused people to. When you can't have something, you want it more. You know.
Yes.
And then when so no one's able to get this, no one's able to play it within those 2 days, And then there's a bunch of news around it, a bunch of hype, and people are like, I'm curious. Let me go see what's going on. Let me update my game. Let me reinstall this game. Let me check it out. And then once the game comes up, it's like, I already have it installed. Let's play a little bit. And it's like, it's a whole new season. They're starting out fresh, new map. Not the wide selection of guns that they had at the end of the season. They're starting all over again. So they got basic weapons, and they're going to be adding crazy weapons over time again. So like they're literally starting like the game all over again. Is pretty much what's going on. And I think this is a genius move. They're keeping it simple, and they're just going to start adding more stuff. So
there's
people
some cool things. Like there's like a buddy. If your buddy gets down, you can pick him up and like run out the circle. I was like, that's kind of cool. But I mean, it was not enough for me to get back into it. But
it wasn't game changing. I think in terms of just attention grabbing, it was genius.
Marketing.
I don't
PR.
think in terms of like going forward, this is gonna like change the game. It wasn't like all of a sudden WoW announces like not just an expansion but like a sequel, and it's like all these new systems. It's like incremental stuff like they've done in the past. Like they've done mechs, they've done events, they've done, and each one of those has served a purpose in a different demographic or a different purpose. I think this one was just like, hey, we're just like Jang was saying, like as across the board, general excitement for this has kind of like dimmered down, and we need to like grab everyone's attention. Like, hey, we're Fortnite, motherfuckers. And I think that was this move.
Grab them by the collar and start shaking the shit out of them, and then you stop and you realize you broke their neck.
And part of it's like they know how much they're embedded in like today's culture. Like you guys were saying, kids. I think kids, and then like the competitive people, and then there's the dads and the families. It's kind of like the kids are the hook, and then everyone else kind of gets pulled in around that as well. But I think just it being so like embedded, it just becomes like a meme as well. Yeah. Like it's, for me, it's like seeing the phenomenon that was Pokemon happen for this next generation. Like I know Pokemon Go happened, but it's still sort of like, oh, it was another wave of Pokemon, but this huge cult thing that was Pokemon. Anyway, Fortnite is this other movement that's just like taking everyone cross-platform, cross everything, memes, like dances, in every facet of it. And I'm like, you can't escape it. Like everyone's got to take. They're like, oh, I don't play Fortnite.
It's a black hole, and it's sucking everyone in.
Dude, it was a really risky. That's a really risky move to be like, hey, we're gonna like turn off this game. Apex and other competitors are gonna get their shine, but it generated a lot of interest.
What do you think could have gone negatively?
I don't know. It just like people moving to another game and just playing another game.
The thing is, so it became a meme, like a meme culture. Like we were doing like the black hole meme things. It could have been like, people could have been negative and been like, fuck this game. Like I've lost all my money. Like, and if obviously like if it could get to a point where just like everyone's negative. Like no memes, it's just negativity. Like F this game.
I think they would have had to have done something like,
yeah, they would have, but it would have broken that like what they were going for.
I still think it was a win-win situation no matter what. Even if they came back and like business was usual, they were just like new season, I think that would have been enough to be like, what just happened? And people would have just like started speculate, like people were speculating, like what does this mean in a bigger picture?
Yeah.
And like their imagination was taking them. So even if they didn't do even any changes, I think it was enough. It was a win. Like no matter what they did. My opinion.
I think it was a safe bet because the game was still active. Like obviously there's nothing to play, but it was, you could log in, like the game, like the beginning was still the same. You could log in, and when you logged in, all you just saw was a black hole. And that was still running. Like if that turned off, if that was just like a completely black screen, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but like no matter what, there's, from Fortnite's point of view, they're like, the headline, Fortnite ended, is huge. And it draws attention to you no matter what you're doing next. Like even if you just were like, we're doing a different game, that's huge news for Epic and for Fortnite, or for the makers of it and stuff. If they went back to the usual, what could this mean for future? Like people are just, they're in the new, like their attention. Yeah. And then even if you're like like if you're a content creator, you're like, I want to be in this, so I'm just gonna play the game even if it's the same shit. I think like unless they did something where they're like political, or there was bugs, or they were stealing money, like something like robbing or crime, like some actual crime, then I would be like, okay, I don't think that's the right news.
Like the end of the game and just kept their money. That's crime, stealing.
You know what would have been crazy for me if they
they'd be like, oh, it's part of bylaws. You played.
If they just dropped Fortnite Chapter 2 like is Fortnite 2. and just changed like the game.
It's like an RTS.
I don't know. Yeah, change the game dynamics,
That's
dude.
next time. You're figuring out for next time. Next time they're gonna be
Fortnite
like, game's over, guys. We're making a whole new game, and then like the whole new game is Fortnite 3, and then everyone's like, oh, it's just fucking at chapter 3. These bastards.
The only problem is like, I feel like the main game hasn't changed, so it's still gonna favor people who build well, and it's not a game changer. So
No, so the one thing that I saw that I thought was kind of, I mean, I don't know, playing it hands on, but I saw something saying like, oh, there's more emphasis on dailies quests, not geared towards like actual combat.
Yeah.
It's like go fishing, go build. Like it's all to me. I was like, is this battle royale turning into an MMO? Because it's like, oh, just go do your dailies.
Yeah.
I'm
so
like,
I know,
at
the
what
way
point-
you drop, the very first drop, you don't drop. It's a cinematic, and it shows a guy jumping off, and then you see yourself fly into your first battle. The map is all grayed out. You have to explore every single spot, and it
okay.
reveals everything. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But not gonna get me back.
I mean,
in.
yeah, but like, I don't know. There's some. It's interesting how it's like subtly changing what it is, and who knows if it's gonna fully commit to that or not. It's like Destiny was always like, to me, even Destiny itself was like, we're a first-person shooter, not an MMO. But now they're like, after years, finally being like, no, we've wanted to be an MMO due to these business ties and all this stuff. We couldn't fully commit. We're going that route now. I'm like, I wonder. I don't think the same things hold true for Fortnite, but I wonder where it evolves to become, like a new genre or something altogether. Like battle royales weren't what this was when this came out, and this changed because it was like originally what a tower defense first person shooter,
Yep.
and they're like, let's try something else. I was like,
Yeah.
ballsy.
Yeah.
But what do they have to say about China?
What do they have to say?
So you know, Fortnite's a little different in China. I think I told you, but I haven't said it on the
What's the difference?
podcast. So if you're killing a lot of people and winning, it gives you the option to leave the game. They'll give you the win, but they want other people to win. And you can only play for like 4 hours, and you can't log back in because they want you to study. A day, 4 hours a day. Two main differences: Fortnite, China.
I don't know.
I want to win.
I kind of want to move to China now.
Well, I mean, I've seen some games. There was a big thing about this whole Mario Kart on the mobile, where
Behind a
you're not
big wall?
even being like, if you were to start a game with an internet connection and then you turn your airplane mode on, it will still find players, and it's like, wait, I'm supposed to be playing against people, and you find out
It
that
has legit names. Like,
they generate all these like names, and then you find out that you're playing against bots. So I wonder if, like, in some countries they emphasize bots more because maybe the way their internet works, so they want to control certain things, or like how you're saying.
could be.
Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah. But interesting
Censorship.
stuff. Yeah, I definitely think it was a bold but well calculated move.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Addison said something about Final Fantasy 14. Did
Yeah.
they do something similar?
No, so the original game, the Final Fantasy,
One.
no, 14, A Realm Reborn. So it was Final Fantasy 14, came out, ton of flaws. They're like, okay, guys, we're pausing the game, completely remaking it, and we're releasing it. And that was Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn. So that's what he says. So like they literally stopped the game, then redid the whole thing with like new everything.
But that was like
And then-
development cycle, so
Yeah.
like full. It was gone for a while.
Yeah, it was gone for a while.
Damn.
yeah.
I see.
So that's why he was like, oh, they pulled a Realm Reborn kind of thing. So I understood that reference because I played it both times.
So no other game has done this.
No.
To my knowledge, I don't think
Not
so.
on purpose.
Not a complete pause like
and
this.
like some games have been like servers are down.
I can't,
Yeah.
believe, I
Yeah.
can't believe World of Warcraft didn't do something like that. Like, where
I
the
mean,
last boss just like
their servers get down. Servers go down.
2 hour
It
wait.
happened to WoW
I
Classic.
don't know. I would say like it's possible for a game to be. I mean, Fortnite's huge, but I would say World of Warcraft is so huge that it would be negative. It would be so bad for these people.
Yeah.
For Blizzard, like if they stop the game for 2 to 3 days.
I don't know, man. Those kids on Fortnite, man.
Yeah, but these are adults, dude. These guys can do things.
Have you seen kids fiending?
But yeah, I think it's a great marketing scheme, and I mean, I think these things need to.
And this message was brought to you by.
I feel like
Tennyson.
if someone else does this, it's just watered down. Like it's been done before. Like
Because
Yeah,
they're following at this point. They're not
it's just
leading.
It's been done before. Eh.
So what should I do? Close down for
I'm
5?
definitely curious what like Pokemon. I'll say this: Pokemon Go, it hasn't been like game breaking or like to the level that Fortnite is, but they did something interesting where they were trying to be like, okay, we want to start because you guys are familiar with Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's Team Rocket. They wanted to start introducing Team Rocket, and it was weird because like they didn't do any formal announcement of it. All of a sudden, you saw a tweet, or people would see tweets getting shared in messages where they're like,
Prepare for trouble?
They showed like Giovanni or something, and then like one day, only a rare sighting of a Team Rocket spot would be seen. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like people were like genuinely like, is this like shouldn't it be more frequent? Like we thought, and then it went away. They were like, oh, maybe it like got accidentally released, which has happened in Pokemon Go before. And then literally the next day, every Pokestop became invaded for an hour, and then all of a sudden they went away. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? And then like a day later, they were sprinkled around, and they did a formal announcement. They're like, hey, they're here, they're invading. That was like a preliminary test, and like they're like, and they made a story out of it. I was like, all right, I feel like that was a well done, safe, but like a cool way of like is slowly introducing something rather than be like, hey, in 3 weeks we're gonna introduce this, and like that's very like cut and paste kind of like standard way of doing it. I think these like creative ways, like Fortnite's doing it, Pokemon Go's done it, other games might do it where they'll like tease things and it's like slowly enters the game. I don't know. I think that's
what I was
interesting.
going to say. I like within like the industry, I do want to see creativity like that. Like,
Yeah.
I would really enjoy it.
Like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, I'm just speculating, like if in WoW you're playing and all of a sudden in one of the major sections
The boot comes up.
He's a boss.
a giant bear druid. No.
Just a giant jar in the middle. All of a sudden, just when it comes through, you're like,
No. So all of a sudden, like, it's like, let's say it's a PvP server, and all of a sudden these characters show up that you're like, I've never seen that race before, and they're doing spells that I don't know how to react to, and like, I think part of it would be outrage because PvP servers, people would be like, what the fuck, my shit's getting fucked up, god damn it, rage. But another part of it could be like, we don't know, they never say anything about this, and then later they're like, hey, new races in the game, go do this raid, and after that raid's done, everyone can access like that race as a class to be. As an idea, I'm just throwing it out there of like,
and I
Destiny's done it
like,
too.
You always
where
say speculation, but World of Warcraft's always been a game about story. So like it would like people would already know like
How?
a lot of people follow the story, so they would know.
but if
like
it's
this
new
is
story, can you hold the mic
they would
close?
know. They would know.
Okay, they would know.
It's I don't know. I guess again that's one that's like tough for me to imagine.
Okay.
But what has Destiny done?
Well, Destiny, I was gonna say was oh yeah, Bungie.
No, at this point, Tennyson.
No, it's Blizzard.
It's poo.
He's not wearing a
It's
costume.
poo.
I know it's
No, he's not going to wear it at BlizzCon. I'm not sure.
Oh
80%.
Oh bother.
Blizzard or Destiny.
Destiny.
What Destiny do? Just kidding.
When Forsaken came out, there was a raid, and then after the first team beat that raid, new content was unlocked for everyone. They were like, the game has changed, and now you're going to start seeing that evolve because the raid has been beaten by one team. I was like, that's not a huge thing, but for the Destiny community, it was kind of like, oh, this is a new way of introducing content.
But then the shittier thing was there was a boss where the first kill wasn't the real kill. He came
I mean,
back.
that's outside of the game.
But that
I'm talking about, yeah.
the first time. Imagine being the world's first, all of a sudden, like,
But not.
just losing it because you didn't know.
Did I tell you that story? So they would, when they were announcing this raid, they're like, you will know you were the first team to have beaten the raid because everyone in your team will get a guaranteed specific drop of like this rare gun. And this team got it. Everyone in their team, like you watch the stream, everyone gets the gun. They're like, we did it. We won. and they realized they didn't win after the fact. Bungie like told them like, congratulations to this other team. They won like by 3 minutes before you guys.
Oh shit!
And they were like, the main guy's like a big YouTuber for Destiny. He goes to the gun, he fucking deletes it like immediately. He's like, fuck this gun. I don't want this gun.
Wow. But yeah, so
But you can remake the gun. Like once you have a gun, but like on the stream, he's just like, delete, fuck this,
it's like
and he like ends it. He ends
it's
it
like throwing away coelacanths, but not
yeah,
saving
like,
the
from
game.
my understanding, like you beat the boss and he like dies, but he comes back and you have to do like a certain amount of damage. Like it's
no, that was
much.
something else.
Oh,
that was
okay,
something
okay.
else. That he sucked too. That was there was like, oh, you get a certain reward for doing it within 24 hours, and they beat it 7 minutes after 24
Yeah.
hours, and they didn't get it. He's like, I fucking hate this.
That was data, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Both times it was data.
He's like
I love it though,
we're
because
going
he
off topic,
rages. He
but-
rages
but
hard,
yeah,
and I hate
so
him.
he
for that.
reminds me of like
Asmongold, yeah.
like the Destiny version of
yeah.
Asmongold
Yeah,
and shitty ass people.
Yeah.
Shitty ass.
Anyway, final topic. We talked about it before, mobile games. I kind of want to revisit it,
Come back. Make it come back.
but with just like maybe different questions, like, or maybe same questions with new context. Like, okay, since last time we talked, Apple Arcade's come out. We already had Fortnite, and Fortnite's still around.
League of Legends going on.
League of Legends, yeah, that just got announced today that they're doing some mobile stuff.
and consoles.
And consoles, yeah. And then the other thing I was kind of like, I only recently started noticing was the latest Call of Duty is available on mobile, and I played it. It is very much like a Call of Duty game. Like I was playing one of the maps.
It's not its own thing. Like it's that.
It is its own thing,
Okay,
but
okay.
like it plays like I was playing it, and I'm like, okay, outside of touch controls, the gameplay is very much what I would get from like doing a quick play multiplayer game. And yeah, Apple Arcade, I had mentioned all the stuff that they have, and it's just like seeing different formats of like how these, and then the Stadia and xCloud have been getting more and more exposure, and like next month Stadia is coming out. So I wanted to talk about like which one of these models of like how these bigger, more established kind of gaming is coming to mobile, and what do you like? Which one do you not like? Outside of like what we've talked about with like microtransactions and that, these kinds of models of like, oh, let's port this, or let's do a version of it for mobile, or let's have like a paid subscription service, or let's just like do cloud streaming. Like, do you have thoughts on any of this?
I'm very skeptical about streaming, like cloud streaming.
You mentioned that one. Yeah.
Because
just because of the internet
Yeah,
connection.
because I tried. I didn't have the best internet, but I would consider like above average internet. Now I have like, I am king of internet right now.
But
like, that's how
my
amazing
only
internet is.
thought about the internet thing is like I know quite a lot of people that still have internet issues even at home.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Like,
I'm like, it's no to me. It's
So-
like
So like
I can go to a Starbucks and get
the thing is,
Wi-Fi.
like, I feel like I was above average when it came to my capabilities with the internet, and I tried Google.
Stadia.
No,
Origin.
It was I played Origin, but at the time they didn't have a name for it. You were playing in
It was
Chrome.
a test for Stadia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the time, obviously, I didn't know that, and so I would log into Chrome. I can log into a special website,
Right.
and it would let me stream on their Chrome browser Assassin's Creed Origins or Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It was horrible. I would literally be able to play like for the first 5 minutes. It was like
Okay.
it was really really laggy, but it was playable. At some point, it would be like I would take a step every like minute almost. Like
Okay.
it was so slow, and so it required me to play a total of an hour, and I didn't know if it was like combined or
Okay.
if I had to play like an hour straight.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm gonna like try to play this for an hour straight. So I was like multitasking. I was watching my show, and I would
Just had it
occasionally
running.
like I was connected to a remote or my controller, so I would like hit up for a little bit, and then I'd go back to watching my show, and then I'd hit up a little bit and go back to my show, and it felt like forever. Like it felt like this was the longest thing because it felt like I was cheating. It didn't feel right, but I was like, I need to get this hour in so you can give me this
Okay.
thing in for free. But so I had a bad experience. I haven't tried it since I've upgraded my internet since then, but now Apple has come out with their Apple Arcade, or what was it called?
Apple Arcade.
Applecade.
Apple Arcade.
And what theirs is a paid subscription, but you're able to download these games.
Yeah,
Or is it-
they're either multiplayer or they're not multiplayer.
But you
games.
download onto the phone, or do
Yeah.
you just stream it onto the
No,
phone?
it's an app.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting them as like any other app or game. You're
So-
downloading them, and some of them are multiplayer, some of them are single player, but none of them, unless it's a multiplayer game, they don't require.
Like online
Online
No,
connection.
I get you.
But they're like full games.
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of like a subscription, but downloading this software to be able to play, because I don't know. I just streaming, like, I know PlayStation Now is the streaming service for PlayStation, and that has issues. Like, there's lag. I mean, not like an extreme lag, but if
PlayStation Now is the one where it's like you don't own the game. You're getting a game from a server to to stream.
yeah, so it's streaming.
Yeah.
Um,
But they also have remote play.
Yeah,
That's another streaming.
yeah, but
thing.
you own that game. You're streaming from your system to like your computer.
But you're doing a similar thing. It's just instead of doing it from a server to your thing, it's from your home. Your home is the server.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, I would say it's similar.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, those have issues. Those have, like, a small delay, a small lag. It's not the same type of connection issue that I had with Chrome, but, like, there's still hiccups, I
Okay.
guess. And, yeah, you brought your phone that doesn't even have... You brought your iPhone... with-
Yeah, it's just like a
didn't
hold
have
on.
anything. Like, it wasn't connected to,
Yeah.
like, a Sims. You had no way of going to internet unless it was on Wi-Fi. You brought it. We're out here where you can't get any internet connection, and you played. What game was it? The
Sayonara Hearts.
Yeah, Sayonara Hunt, and it was fantastic. It was literally like it was an app. It was an app on the phone that was really well made, and I was like, "This is amazing!" Like $5, and I can play like these type of games. Like this is, I think this is worth it. This is amazing.
What do you think, Shay?
I hate paid subscription. I want to own my games, but then I'm the guy with the Switch that has DRM. But yeah, I want to own the games. I like Stadia, the fact that it has a controller, and I'm assuming you can do the.
I didn't realize how easy. I mean, I remember when Android and Apple first, people were like, download this app, and through that you can get Bluetooth to work. It is so easy to pair with either Android or with Apple a PS4 controller or an Xbox controller. So it's almost like it works just as easy as with the console itself.
That's the main gripe for mobile games for me.
Is the controls?
I just need that controller. Mouse and keyboard would be perfect, but I don't think.
But not
that's
the
possible.
Nintendo Pro controller because it's terrible. Apparently, just saying.
It is?
Well, he doesn't. He's like half the games. He's like, I can't play with this controller. You can't
Oh,
play
because I hit the D-pad.
Tetris 99 can't play with
Oh,
the controller.
The D-pad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goose can't play with controller.
I don't know. The other thing I was mentioning was like games like Fortnite or Call of Duty where they play. It's sort of like how people used to look at Nintendo of like where the ports would come and they're like not as good, but now Nintendo's. I mean, they still kind of have that with like, for instance, Witcher just came out on it and stuff, and it's not as good, but it's like okay, it's portable, and I'm like mobile is even more so that like if I think the ideal thing of something like that is. Granted, I don't have the best data. I'll just go someplace and I'm playing at like a train with Wi-Fi or a Starbucks or a Panera, and they got Wi-Fi. Granted, this may not always be the best, but at least I'm like, oh, I'm on some Wi-Fi. And the Starbucks, I see people playing StarCraft and Dota and stuff anyway. So I'm like, I don't know if you guys ever seen that. It's just people are just like going to town on these like
Yeah.
video games with laptops, the gaming laptops. I'm like, if I can do that on my phone. Yeah, only thing holding me back is a controller, and that's kind of been the challenge of getting that working has been reduced. So, what is holding it back at all? And I understand that not everyone's level set on mobile games. So like one person has a 4-year-old phone, one person has the newest phone. I think that's a barrier because you always have to work towards like a certain common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
But I think. Where Apple is succeeding is a lot of its games are very minimalistic, and that's an area where they can circumvent that. Like Nintendo always is like, we may not have the best graphics, but because of our art style, we look just as visually amazing as like
But that's
a AAA like Uncharted game.
I guess that's one thing. So like Apple is doing a really good job with like making a game that'll handle really well on the phone. Like
Well, they're not making the games; they're supporting these developers. Yeah,
right. They're supporting games that handle really well on the phone. Like they're very minimalistic games. Like I remember I got I've played Fortnite and I played PUBG both on mobile. It's horrible. Like it's like
It's gotten better. I'm
no, but like I think if you play over time, your phone like starts overheating. You know, like it starts
again.
getting,
That's a
it starts
variable.
getting
It's a
slower.
varied experience.
Yeah.
I think that's also like you could argue, PC gaming is very similar. Because you might have like the brand new PC, but I got like this old hunk of junk like laptop, and it's like for some it's a great experience. For others, like for phones, we're in the I'm saying we're flipped. Like my phone experience, mine's might run smoother in the battery, but PC gaming has been at that for a long time. Why? Like what is the difference between like how people have perceived PC gaming
people
versus?
You don't see like every individual phone as its own hardware. You know, you just see like that's a phone game, it should run fine. You know, PC like there is like you.
Well,
you
that's
understand.
I think that's the case. I agree with you. I think that's the case because of this like trend that mobile games have had in the past. But recent announcements and games coming out have made me feel like it's shifting more and more. I think Fortnite was a big turning point. I know PUBG was also there, but I think Fortnite was the one where like kids are playing this everywhere, and now they can do it even more so with like one of the biggest games of all time. And I'm wondering like if this trend continues, like they're making these brand new phones. They're like here's like the mega edition and here's the basic edition, and they're like guaranteeing like I'll use the iPhone for instance. Like the latest iPhone, like the minimum one is like $600, and I remember where like we're living in a day where phones are like upwards of 1,000 plus. So like as that continues and like deals get made, that phone will be like $200 in a year or two, and people will be like, oh, I'll get that used. And like you see those things in people's hands. Like in 2-3 years time, I'm thinking like that norm base level will be set where like Fortnite can play on it, and Fortnite's going to be like the WoW, where it's like, hey, you got a running PC, you can play WoW.
I mean, I think maybe I like to think that I have a phone that is that it's
capable. Yeah, but you're right in that like it's not just the hardware, it's the service.
Yeah.
And I think that is the other variable that PCs maybe don't have as much of a thing of, because I think everyone kind of has like a basic level of internet. I don't know. It's interesting how different developers and studios and like people with money that want to do this are approaching it.
Yeah.
And like, when will we get like a WoW on the phone, like a WoW level game on the phone, where people are like, instead of sitting with a laptop in a Starbucks or a cyber cafe, you just like.
And I also have to assume that like that type of level of game would have to be connected to the internet, because it would probably like whenever you move to like a map, it would have to load. Like I doubt it's gonna be
locally
being made right now. Diablo Eternal.
BlizzCon. That'll calm people down, right?
You guys got phones, right? You guys got freedom, right?
Because World of Warcraft.
Guys, I work for Blizzard now.
If you play World of Warcraft, the retail, it's like 120 gigs plus that your game's gonna your system's gonna download.
That's true.
And like, at least with so Google 4 or Pixel 4 just got announced.
Yeah.
It's not having you can't expand the internal memory.
Right.
And the biggest you can get is 128 gigs. It goes 64 and then 128. So like if
it couldn't.
It wouldn't that's all you're gonna fit, if anything. You know, you're not getting anything else on this phone. So I feel like it would have to like internet-wise load like the new map.
They have to compress these games somehow or something, and they're showing, a lot of studios are showing that they can do that, because when they're porting it to Switch, we're getting like a 32 gigabyte file size for Witcher 3 and all its DLC on the Switch.
And then I remember it was a big thing when it came on PS4. It was like, this is the biggest file size game we've seen in forever.
So it's like, if that trend continues, where will it go?
Yeah.
But the other thing I've noticed is like, I'll use an example, the Pokemon Go creators made the Wizard game, and one of the differences behind the scenes of it was you can download locally a lot of the assets so that the game isn't as internet intensive, so you're not lagging as much. And I'm like, maybe maybe not for like Fortnite, but maybe like for, I don't know, something less intensive, like a Mario Kart, for instance. You could have a lot of those files saved locally, and then you don't have to rely on your internet as much if you have like shoddy internet, or if you're in a convention center or whatever. But then what if you have a game like Monster Hunter where it's like ad hoc? Like, imagine, I'm not saying the controls would work with Monster Hunter, but like you would need a controller.
Yeah.
But like, if you could play, if everyone, all of us could just be like, all right, let's play Monster Hunter, and like we just connect a controller to our phone, and we're just playing. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah. But right now, like, I mean, Apple, yeah, like I remember saying like mobile is not going to happen, but then Apple came out right after.
They're like,
soon after
Daniel.
we talked about that. And yeah, when you showed it to me, I'm like, this works really well. Like, there's
They have
no
other
delay.
good games too.
Yeah, and a thing like because you download it, so you're not relying on a constant internet connection,
Sure.
stuff like that. And so, I don't know, like,
But
I'm very skeptical about Stadia. I hope it works out.
We'll
specifically
find out
because
soon.
You got it because you spent 100 and
It's
how much is it?
I think it's the future. Like
Cloud?
Streaming?
No consoles that stream or just
I agree
no
with you.
physical games
I agree with
is
you.
the future.
Like
Digital.
at some point, like we won't even need to have memory in a sense. Like it'll all be streamed to us.
Yeah, you guys remember a day when we had to get separate memory cards because the internal memory of our consoles? Like, how far it's come now till now, where it's like, oh yeah, you can save your game.
What
file.
scares me is I feel like it's gonna be.
You won't own it.
Well, it's gonna be like, you know how Rockstar has their own thing, Epic has their own thing.
Oh, the stores.
It's like how the streaming shows are.
Yeah.
Going towards
to a la carte.
I feel like game companies are gonna do that, and that's
Okay.
what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
You got to pay for this.
What's funny too is like Jing brought up like he likes to own physical things. I at this moment I have to say I used to. Like if I'm buying something for $60, I want to own it. Like I do want like to own it. Like specifically a physical copy because I'm worried about like digital rights and when like I lose that right because a copyright thing
Except
changes.
if it's on the Switch.
And it's just how like everything's kind of turned out. Like when I got the Switch first, I was like, I'm only getting a physical copy. It's like screw anything else. And now it's like literally like I've not bought a physical version of a game in like
Yeah.
the last year, But price wise too though, like with PS4, if I pay something $60, I do want to own a physical copy. But if I'm paying subscription, if I'm paying like $15, $20 a subscription to play a game, I'm perfectly fine with playing a game. Like downloading, playing a game, beating it, and then removing it and going with a new game. Like I'm perfectly fine with that.
Well, like, going back to what the trends of like when people think of mobile games and what they are now, having played all these games recently, like I'm playing Pokemon Go, I'm playing Call of Duty, I've tried Fortnite on mobile, I've tried all the Apple Arcade games. To me, it's like, it's a foreign thing to see a mobile game, all of a sudden an ad pops up, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, delete. Like, my tolerance for it is zero now. Whereas before, it used to be like, this is normal. And I'm like, if I feel like this, I hope there's at least like 100 others that feel the same way. And that will start having an impact on like where the market goes of like developers being like, we're not making money with these. We got to like up our quality. We got to like make real, like not just gimmicks, but like solid games with like content and black holes. And like there's other ways that you can market. I mean, there's battle passes, there's cosmetics and stuff, but like it's trending. I feel, in my opinion, it's moving. And I'm like,
the games that you're referring to that don't have like online ads like that, the mobile games, are also the games that have a large market with microtransactions. So like that's where the money is. Fortnite?
Yeah, I agree.
Mario Kart? It's a paid subscription or
no. The paid subscription is like, it got a lot of news. It's not essential.
Right. No, I understand that.
Okay.
But there's also, I believe there's microtransactions in there as well.
There's a loot box thing.
There's ways to make money on that.
Right, there are. But like the things that when people think of mobile games, it's like always
Candy Crush Clash of.
It's like gated. It's gated.
Yeah. It's a free game. Like if I make a free game and I don't have microtransactions, I'm gonna add ads to it. But then we had the movement where like Candy Crush at some point had ads and was a microtransaction type thing. You buy more plays or
but
whatever.
like I'm talking even like Clash of Clans. You have to stop playing because you can't. If you're playing free, you have to stop playing until it says 3 hours.
Right.
You have to, then if you want to circumvent that, you have to pay to play more. you don't have to do that for a large majority of games that people are playing, like on a regular. Like you can play Pokemon Go and tons of people are playing. You can play Fortnite, tons of people are playing. You can play like half these games, tons of people are playing, and they're like the bigger games on there.
Right.
I think that's a positive direction. I agree. There's still ways that they're making money, and they're still sort of manipulative. But I'm like, I'm liking the trend where it's like not a hard stop. It's more of like it's there, it's tempting you, but parents can like parent control that shit, or they can do other things. Before, people were like, there's all those news stories. Kid spends $500 of his grandma's money on Candy Crush or some shit. I'm like,
Guy that spends $100,000 on Transformer game.
I have like, I guess in the back of my head, I'm like scared, like we're like an example, because Apple's good. Like I don't know how well Apple's gonna do with like Apple Arcade. I don't know how well it's doing.
I don't know the
Haven't looked
forecast
into
of it. Yeah.
But
they're adding games like I think every week.
at some point they're gonna like. I feel like there's gonna be a stacked thing where it's subscription based, and the game's gonna have microtransactions. You know, like double feature.
They made it a big point about the whole point of Apple Arcade being these are catered games. There's no additional things. Your subscription eliminates that.
I understand that.
I think though the worry is like, I think Spotify is an example of this, and music as a general is
Free and premium.
no, like how the developers are getting paid. I know with Google, they try to do their version of Apple Arcade, and people were like, this is bullshit because it was paid per how much time it's played. And some games are like, this is an hour-long game. Like, I'm set to lose this new system you guys have. And people were inquiring. Apple was much more, I think, secretive, but I think they're not of that model. And I know Spotify, what I mean by the money is like, you get paid based on how much time your songs have been played, not just by being a part of the system. And that's the worry I have with those subscription services is like, how sustainable is that when you got more and more people trying to like be like, hey, I want to be in your service. I want to be in your service. You can't pay them all the same, but at the same time, if they don't get paid, then they're just being like,
gotta make good quality games.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
but then they make games based on hooking you. Like, it's like that changes what the experience is. Like, I want you to experience this for a day, and that's it. And I want it to be impactful, like the indie games and stuff. But they have to like come up with like gameplay loops to like come back next week, come back next.
The other thing is, I've seen how these things have been happening. Like Call of Duty, the most recent one, the beta came out, and like it was literally just like the game you can play. Like there was nothing added onto it. There's no microtransactions, nothing. Now that the game is about to come out, like there was like a leak that there's like in one of the menus they had like a placeholder that said loot box, and everyone's like, wait a minute, you're gonna have loot boxes? So they were like, it's like a bait and switch. Like, here's a game, no loot box. I mean, they didn't say.
We don't know.
We didn't say anything.
Sure.
It could. I guess it could be like a fluke or stuff like that. But I do feel like that's something that like the way something you get people hooked on something. You provide them with something. You're like, hey, this is gonna be the game, fantastic. And everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're like after this is like maybe a year into it, like everyone's hooked onto it. Like it's getting microtransactions. Everyone's like, I'm already playing it. It's cool. Like I won't buy it, But there's those people that go crazy on it.
Sure.
And then eventually, like I've invested enough time, like me, and I'm gonna drop $300 on this game, and now I'm permanently attached to this game because I've already wasted $300 on this mobile game. And like
this sounds too personal.
it kind of happens that way, And it's just, I don't know. I'm worried. I feel like Apple Arcade can say now like we're not gonna do it, and then later on they're like, hey guys, like. Times are changing.
Sure, that could happen. I hope it doesn't.
So yeah, it's just we'll see. But I'm always I'm cynical when it comes to this thing.
But like the Stadia thing you were mentioning, that one's supposed to be like you can use Stadia, but like if you want to play these certain games, you have to have bought them within the Stadia marketplace. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna work.
Double buy.
Like,
they really need to pay for a first party exclusive.
Yeah.
That's like a really good one. It would make me get it. Like if a really good game came out.
I think when they first announced it, they were talking about the potential of it, and like you can like streamers can like live guide stuff, or they can like have their stream going on while another stream's being played. And I'm like, it'll still be in its infancy, so maybe like a year or two if they stick with it, because Google's notorious for like starting projects and dropping shit.
Blow my mind if like Stadia becomes the next streaming platform, dude.
I mean, Xbox is going in on it. Fucking PlayStation's Remote Play just came out on on Android,
Right.
and it's been on Apple, and I'm like,
Rest in peace, Vita. That's the final nail in the coffin for the Vita.
but like a part of me is thinking, I'm like,
Have you tried it?
I have not tried it. I downloaded it. I was like, I want to try it because I want to try it on Android and on Apple because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, how can I play without Stadia? I could get my Destiny cross save to go to PlayStation, and from PlayStation I'll remote play. I'm on fucking mobile
Damn.
playing Destiny. I'm like,
But don't do that yet, because you have your own game on PlayStation.
base game, yeah.
Yeah, so just play that one for now. And
Well,
see how
okay,
it
just
works.
but I mean like the potential is what I
You're
mean.
telling me that you're already gonna switch over, man. That's what I'm hearing.
No, I can do it. It's cross save. I can
going
just
to
move it
mobile.
wherever I want to go.
Yeah, but you gotta like actively move it. It sucks. It just doesn't like I can't just
Potential.
log in.
200 IQ.
Black hole.
Fortnite. Check me out.
Black hole.
I'll show you my black hole. If you show me
Mario?
yours.
Oh my god.
What have you guys been up to this week?
What did I do?
Black hole. Oh yeah.
Indicate.
I've been chipping away at Destiny. I think today I finished
The raid?
No, I did the strike. If you do like 3 strikes with the specific element, you get the prime, whatever. There's a lot of it I haven't been doing. I've been doing like
Iron Banner started.
yeah, I saw that. I've been doing things that you can just do mindlessly. Like when
Okay.
you're doing a strike, you don't have
There's
to.
a
worry
lot of
about- yeah.
Destiny. A lot of Destiny that can be done mindlessly.
You know, so but I'm also like just the bare minimum, like
Okay.
that's it. And then what else? That's like I haven't done anything else.
Okay.
I've been watching anime.
Indicate.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it. You guys bring it up, and I would be like, oh yeah, I did. I went there too.
I just want to bring up a story. Like last year we
tell us
went.
the story.
There was a fighting game, and this kid just went no mercy on Vargas and like pretty much destroyed him. So we were playing Killer Queen.
Oh,
And
at this one?
Vargas was the queen, and this little kid was the queen, and the kid was talking mad shit. And
How old was
Vargas-
this kid?
He was only like 10, 12.
I made.
And
the
then
kid
Vargas
quit.
made him quit being the queen. Like this kid loved
So
being the queen.
I noticed. So he had been sitting there for a long time, and he literally was hogging the controller that was making him the queen. Which the queen is the most like active, like can attack at any
Yeah,
time.
it can do everything.
It can do everything. And this kid was just constantly hogging this thing, and I was playing, and then he went directly after me, killed me.
he
I'm
was
like-
talking shit.
And then he immediately. he's
What did he
immediately
say?
like-
What did he say?
Well, the kid immediately is like, ha ha ha, like he made the joke, and I'm like, okay, obviously.
Little
it's-
did he know.
I didn't know it was the kid at the time, but like obviously when he made the laugh, I'm like, he's like, went after their queen. I'm like, okay, this is the queen. This kid right now is the queen. And then I learned that you can like attack downwards, and this kid did not know you could do that.
At that moment, he knew he fucked up. Ome
And
womo
so then
shinderu.
I would bait him into getting under me, and I would kill him. And I kept doing it to the and like and
How
their
many
team
times?
kept losing.
How many times?
I killed him like so. There's 3 rounds of 3 deaths if you're killing the queens.
Like this
So I
kid
killed him
set his
maybe-
strategy. Like he was. So I won by snail because he's
Yeah.
like only going for the queens. Like,
Yeah.
dude, okay.
Literally,
well,
like after he killed me the first time, he's like, "Yeah, that's how you win the queen." I'm like, oh, "You don't, but okay, you know, if you want to go after me." But there is a point where there's a point where he couldn't kill me. He kept dying, and he was causing his team to lose. Like he would die 3 times, and it would be a point for us. He would die 3 times, would be a point for us. So I killed him
Fucking
maybe
LeBron.
6. I killed him maybe 6 times, and then he was like, he traded controllers with someone. He was like, "Hey, I don't want to be queen anymore."
Dang,
and
you
he
made
had been
him-
hogging it the whole time. Like I was watching because we watched like 2 games before we even played,
Yeah.
and he was queen the whole fucking time, and he was like enjoying it because he's murdering everybody.
and
then
he didn't enjoy it
I
much
come in
longer.
the picture, and
Ome womo shinderu.
he
And I
Yeah.
think that stemmed from last year's Indicate because Vargas got destroyed by a
got
kid.
destroyed. I try to be fair, so like I was trying not to spam moves because it was a very simplistic fighting game, and like you would push a button and it would do one move, and it was like a cheat move, like easily, like you couldn't counter it or anything like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to the kid. I'm gonna keep playing normally. And then he, being a young child, was like, yeah, and then spammed the shit out of it, and I couldn't get out of it, and he killed me. I'm like, I'm gonna try to like see if I can counter it, and and it ended up like he just won the whole match, and he's like, he made a comment like I should get better or something like that. I'm like, whatever, kid. Whatever. Whatever, kid.
That stemmed why Vargas bullied this kid, I think.
And so I took this rage on this other kid. No, just kidding.
A year
He was talking
fermented.
shit though. The kid was talking. I was like, woo! I was like, woo!
Whatever.
Kill the queen.
Hopefully that kid's better now for,
Dang. Nice.
I don't wanna be
how's
queen
your,
anymore.
what have you been up to,
But
Jay?
yeah, I did indicate, and we'll talk about it when you guys bring it up.
We went to Indicate. We wanted to do the night experience, so we went there late. Regret it because we didn't play that many games in the
Yeah.
daytime, and there was a line for a game. I don't even remember what it was, but it was really long. I was like, oh, I kind of want
You mean
to.
the phone one?
I don't know. It was a really long line. I was like, oh, but I always enjoy Indicate. It's fun.
I enjoyed like the first 2 hours. Like when we went around,
Yeah.
like, dude, we saw the iPad. I believe it was like he only spoke Japanese.
Oh,
he
yeah,
spoke
yeah,
no
yeah.
English.
Yeah. Oh,
That
the
was
drawing one.
Amazing.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
He was fighting like a fire thing.
Yeah, I saw
and,
that
like,
one.
He tried slashing and it's like, I'm too powerful. I'm like, you should hit like the soda. And he slashes the soda, it splashes onto him. And then the whole time we're like, oh, you have to do something else. And we like overthought it. He hit everything on the map and it's like, that's where I'm like, oh, dude, he's weak now. You could just slash him. And that was it. Like, we're like, oh my God. We like,
Yeah, that game was
so much time.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
We played this really cool pirate ship game with the controllers were like blocks. Like
Oh,
we had
yeah,
to like
yeah.
turn the key for
Did you
treasure.
so next to that drawing game, on the other table, there was one where it's like it's very quick and it was just like it looked like an arcade stick but with 4 buttons.
No,
didn't
we didn't
see
play
it.
that one. That one had a lot of people.
Yeah.
On it.
I saw this guy like just and like it's like moving obstacles and you're like a block on a grid.
Yeah.
And your goal is to get all the dots and you're teleporting through from dot to dot on a line. But so like if something is going through the line, you teleport and you go to the other side. And like this guy was trying to do it all within like 2 seconds. He was trying to do it before any of the obstacles goes. He just like move his guy and got all the dots. I was like, whoa. Anyway.
I recommend Indicate. It's cheap and there's a lot of cool new games that
It's cheaper if you're media. Just saying.
free 99.
I think it's. I mean, you could just walk in there.
I know. Well, you didn't hear from us, but they don't really check badges. You know what I'm saying? But
You can just check out the campus.
It feels
Even,
like
like-
that because you had a badge.
especially nighttime,
That's true.
dude, you can't even see a badge. It's too dark.
I think nighttime might have been an open thing for everyone, but
Maybe you needed the badges to do the day stuff, and the outside stuff was just
I
open
mean,
because they had
there
stuff
was
for
a
like
security guard
vendors.
that like was staring, but might have just been staring because mine
Yeah.
said media and
But like,
big time,
like Vargas said, last year we went there paid, but going in as media, you get kind of treated differently. You
Yeah.
get
People
free
look
game
at-
codes. You get free game codes. Like Killer Queen Black, you could get a free game code from them.
Really?
Just say you talk to, I don't know his name.
Yeah. Your friend said it too, like Andy or Andrew or something.
Angry
like that.
Bananas. I met a couple streamers.
yeah.
Cool.
Game
But-
Overcast and Angry Bananas. Yeah, you get treated a lot different. You get game codes.
Well, I think it's also like they are in school still, or they're alum or something, and they're like, "Oh, this is what it's like to see like a press, like you're maybe not like an IGN or whatever, but like any press, and like, oh, how can like they feel like they're on the spot, like,
Yeah.
what do you like? You're a critic. You're like, what's this game about? Yeah,
Dude,
like that kind of
Weinschnapp.
yeah.
There's some dicks, man. Like when we were playing
Really?
Killer Queen Black, there's a
The
guy
kid?
who just no, well, yeah, well, with the kid. I was next to
You were the dick, dude.
I was next to the guy that was promoting it. Like he was like, he was the one who was like, here, take a controller or whatever, and setting up the game, like resetting it every time. And then there was like these 2 guys that came up that like they were media, and immediately was like, can you give me a premise in this game? And the guy's like, yeah, blah 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 blah. And he's like, can I get a free copy? Just immediately was just like going for like the kill.
Jeez.
And the guy's like, yeah, just the Twitter, just hit up the Twitter, DM them, and just say like, Andrew sent you, and you'll get. And that's how I overheard that you can get the one for Killer Queen. But I was like, these guys went straight for like, give me the free game.
Yeah, a lot of people
And I
when they
was
see
like,
free
people
ways.
like
wow,
that.
dude.
I
And
don't
like,
like
you can tell like they weren't paying attention when they
Yeah.
asked them like, give me
Like,
the premise of the game.
yeah.
He's like,
Skip.
I'm here to start a conversation, make you think I'm interested, and just give me the free goddamn game.
Luckily, I didn't run into many of those. I think I went on Friday, and I saw much more of the day. I didn't see any of the night stuff. But I got there. Wait, hold on. I want to ask. Did you do anything else?
We ate.
I played Valferris. It's like a Contra meets Doom.
Oh, okay.
And then press for LA Comic Con.
Kamikaze.
Dude, dead.
Really?
I'm very worried about.
Angry banana.
I didn't go Saturday. It looked packed Saturday, but Sunday was dead. It was pretty dead, and I'm like, this is concerning. Like, this is like closing down dead.
Yeah.
So it was like Complex Con, and you really enjoyed it, is what you're telling
Well,
us.
the thing that like blew my mind, I knew people that were going through friends of friends, and they're like, "I'm going to Comic-Con this weekend." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? Tripping?" And they're like, "Yeah, in LA." I'm like, "That's
Comic-Con."
I'm like, back in my day,
back in my day,
like the name of Comic-Con has been so I don't know, that name's been thrown around too much.
But
yeah,
Indicate. I think next year we should do like an award thing. Like we should all three of us. We should play all the fucking games, every single game.
I'm down.
Make it all day.
I've written. I wanted to interview. I did interview. I didn't get to do it like formally.
Yeah.
But I wrote notes of each one, and I was like, okay, I want to do a spotlight on each one of these in like a separate post or something. So if they're listening, I know I told them about a podcast for any of the game developers. Planning on doing some sort of like through social media. But check out for that. But yeah, I just walked through the whole place. I got there real like 2-ish on Friday, so it was open. It was a lot more of like the devs were there amongst each other, and they were like checking each other's games out. But there were some other journalists, I think like local news and like campus news and some other bigger ones like I don't know. I think Game Inform, or maybe Game Inform. I don't know. But I got to go around. I didn't realize board games were a thing too. It was a bigger presence this year than last year.
Yeah, last year it wasn't like
it was
crazy.
like 3.
Like there was a
one area.
hallway where it was just like this is just board games.
And there was before that it was like you know how you said you went in that one building right behind the where you get the ticket. When you went upstairs, like that area was the board games. That was it. And there was like 4 or 5 maybe, and that was it. Everything else was just actual games.
At first, I just saw a lot of VR. I was like, "Wait, is this going to be like heavy on VR?" I was like, I wasn't too into it, but I'm like, okay, maybe that's the theme. But then I started seeing more and more of like typical PC games, and it was interesting just like hearing. I think I was trying to be consistent with my questions, but just hearing how long development cycles were, how long they've, like how big of a team or how small the teams were. Usually, it was just like a handful of people, or with like support from like contract people, like helping with like graphics or assets. Sometimes there was one game where it was Groundhog Day meets Shakespeare. This game, did you see that one, Ophelia? And it's like a Sims game, but you're playing through like the play of Hamlet through the point of view of Ophelia, and every time you finish it, you have more information that your character can then share with characters to change the story. And I was like, wait. He's like, these are handcrafted dialogue. I'm like, how many different handcrafted dialogues did you do? Because like, I'd imagine so many things could like play into a factor. He's like, we have a system, and he starts explaining it like on a game development level. I was like, this is over my head. But he's like, just know that it ends up working, and it goes into a finite amount. And it made me think of Detroit Become Human, where they have so many outcomes. I was like, you did some crazy stuff. And I was like, how long have you guys worked on it? He's like 6 years, but it's 6 years of just every Sunday we all met up and worked. I was like, that's still like
it's still a lot.
One Sunday a week. You're like, I want to work on this. And it's like
that's pretty much a year.
Yeah,
hey, we're almost there though.
Oh yeah. And then I was asking him like, are you guys planning on using this sort of as a template for other stories, or do you guys want to make other games? He's like, I mean, we could, but I think a lot of us want to make other games. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then there was this game I mentioned called Kind Hearts, where the intention of it was to actively like have a positive impact on someone else. And I'm like, a lot of games do that passively through, oh, you're socializing with people or whatever. But this one was like making an active part of the game, and I thought that was very risky and challenging because there's a lot of ways people can abuse that, or there are ways people will not be prepared to respond to other people's issues or concerns. Who knows? I'm not a trained like doctor or anyone, and it's like I could say something that sets someone off.
A lot of liability.
Yeah, and I was worried, but I was like, I like where you're going, and they said so far it's been positive, but part of me was like, I hope it stays positive. And then there was a few other games that stood out. There was the one from the Cuphead developer. It reminded me of Monument Valley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mixed with like Flower, the PS3 game, because it was essentially a flower and you're doing this puzzle stuff. I was like, oh, this is fun.
Review copy soon.
Hopefully, yeah. They said
copy.
end of year. I got my iPad. Don't start streaming.
Stream copy.
Where are you gonna play it on?
Steam?
Is it on Steam?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were doing just mobile.
She said Steam and mobile, I think.
Okay.
Right now.
And then one of the games that I actually bought like right when I got home was called Dicey Dungeon. It's like a roguelite card game, and I was like, Slay the Spire. And then like I looked at it, and so the aesthetic is very much like Cuphead meets like gambling and forest. Like it was you play as dice characters,
Yeah.
and then you roll dice, and you have abilities tied to these dice. So for instance, when I started, one of the dice was whatever you roll, that's how much damage you do.
Yep.
The next to it was even numbers. You burn one of their dice, and if they want to use that dice, they have to take one burn damage before they can then use it. And you can repeat that use 3 times. Then there was another one where it does +1 to any dice roll you have. And then the default like side thing was you get to re-roll a dice if you have any. So once I leveled up, you get like after so many levels, you can get additional dice or upgrade these because you have a grid sort of like, think of like a Resident Evil inventory. These pieces take up blocks of space in your equipment, and so upgrading them will either increase their abilities or make them take less space so you can
have
equip
more,
additional
yeah.
abilities. So I eventually picked skills where I was like, they're all feeding into each other. Like, okay, I'll use my best one here. I'll bump this one. I could use it there, or I could use it on this other one that makes it even if I have an odd number. And I have all these, like, everything was just feeding each other. But it was a very offensive build. There was another one where a bunch of equipment where it was like, oh, you could like have shields and like use your shields to bash them or to heal yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
And I reached like the 5th stage and I died them and then it would just reset. So I don't know like what carries over because roguelites typically progress carries. So I don't know what does, but it was fun.
What did you pick it up on?
Huh?
What'd you pick it up on?
So it's only on PC right now.
Okay.
It's on Steam. But they were saying they're interested in doing a Switch port at some point. And I was like, it was very easy, but I'm wondering what kind of like new game pluses or challenges or modifiers they could add. I definitely see potential for
Ascensions.
it. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. There's a couple other games I can't remember right now, but I want to mention them later on in posts.
Horses was Vargas's
The
best of show.
Goat. Best of show.
Goat. No, for me, Biped, man. That one
Biped
was really,
was
really
probably
good.
Not War
It's
Tweets?
just fun. 80% synchronization, dude.
87%.
Harmonization.
Yeah, me and him synced up 80% of the way, dude.
Oh, you know what I should have done with War Tweets? # free Hong Kong. See what happens in the game? Because it was Missile Command and mixed with like Twitter. I was like, it's not a bad concept. So, yeah, so that was fun. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem. It's fucking like, God, time goes
Progress
by.
with Manuela.
Yeah,
Update.
a little bit. It's mostly with Dorothy. Fucking, I'm like eagle, like just laser focus on her.
You're mine.
But yeah, it's long. So if you're looking for a game that like gives you a lot for your buck, that's a game to give it.
Would you describe it as long and hard?
Yeah, and thick. It's very
Horses.
thick.
Very girthy.
Yeah. It's very thoughty. But yeah, it's a great game. It's getting to a point now. I'm realizing you were mentioning like November stock. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, wait, fuck. I want to finish this so I can play Pokemon, and that's gonna take me forever. And
Death Stranding.
And Death Stranding, and I just fucking need to play Destiny. And WoW. I'm like, God, it's exhausting.
Just forget about WoW.
Yeah,
And then-
you
oh.
can cancel.
I'm going to BlizzCon. I want to like get into the.
Cancel
I don't
culture,
know.
bro.
As Winnie?
Yeah. 100 acre. I'm gonna be in 100 Acre Woods if anyone wants to do a meetup.
All I know is if
There's protests planned to go. I'm like, fuck. I'm gonna park.
Wait,
far.
so I've never been to BlizzCon.
Mhm.
What's blocked off like in Anaheim? Is like the front part blocked
So
off?
they've been having it. So you know how like they have the fountain, like it's a really popular
Yes.
area. So that is now like behind an area where you have to have a pass already. So
Okay.
people,
Yeah, that sort of
unless
reminds
you
me of
have a pass,
WonderCon.
you can't be at the fountain,
Okay.
kind of thing. But there are ways to kind of.
Can you be like, oh, I
sneak
want
in.
Can you be like, oh, I'm gonna pick up my pass and just go in and just
Keith,
hang
yeah.
out?
Keith could.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you could generally because that's that point. You have to go past that point to pick up the badge. It's
Yeah.
it's on the like.
And then you could
downstairs
free Hong
usually.
Kong.
Go as a goose. Goose. New DLC. The Hong Kong DLC.
Oh, sorry, I have a pass for my goose. I gotta let him through.
So yeah, playing a bunch of different games. Mobile games I was mentioning, I tried Call of Duty. It's interesting, and it, like I haven't had any issues. I was
How long
playing
did you
on
pay
my
for
data, huh?
How long did you pay it for?
Like hour and a half.
I shouldn't know.
Shooting, like I've never played a shooter on mobile. The interesting they do is you could just move one. I think Fortnite does it too. If your cursor detects the enemy, if you move your cursor over the enemy, you just start shooting. You could choose to turn that off if you want, because I'd imagine if you're playing with a controller, that'd be different than if you're playing on the touchscreen. But I've been playing with touchscreen, so I'm like, it works. Most people I'm playing against, I think are like don't know how to play, or like the touch controls are very shitty. So
Well,
I'm like,
you picked it up when it first came out, or like it's
no,
still,
it's
like,
been out for a few weeks, but
Okay.
I think it's because I'm in these lower levels.
Yeah.
It's pairing me with the other noobs, so maybe you're right. Yeah, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, been doing that. Watching Big Mouth, very funny.
Oh,
Is it,
watched El Camino.
Yeah, watched El Camino.
Good. I recommend it if you love Breaking Bad.
It's a good, yeah. Vince Gilligan, I feel like is very consistent. He's 3 for 3 for me.
I'm just saying the scene, not spoiling it, the crafty scene, he needed this stuff and the resolution to get the stuff. I was like, I did not see that coming. I was like, this is...
200 IQ. This episode is 200 IQ. Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie. So watch that, and that was good.
Good cameos.
Yeah. So that's all I had to say.
Oh, no, you forgot one thing. We got a celebrity, a local celebrity. The news.
Oh yeah, I made the news. I made local news. Check me out on Long Beach Local News.
Oh, we got a celebrity all of
Petting
a
the
sudden.
kitty titties.
Kitties. I sound like an idiot. Like,
Have you ever
we have a cat? No, not yet.
Were you
I
trying to
have
change
one
your
now.
voice or something?
No, I just like
You're so
the
nervous.
sound bites. Like I just was blunt and short with my points, and so it's just like no, not yet. I'm like, she's like, fucking give it to her. I'm like, fuck weekly DLC. No, I don't know. It was funny. I didn't realize they would be posting the video clip because she did a bunch of videos.
Oh
but
yeah.
it's through cat yoga. It was fun.
So you don't do like a specific yoga. You just like different yogas.
Goat
every
yoga. Cat
time.
yoga.
Horse yoga. No, I mean it's usually they're all gimmicks, but like there's like a trend of like animals and stuff. So the goat one, a friend of mine pointed out, like, fuck it, let's go. It was at a brewery, and then the bunny one, that was another gimmick. It's like, oh, they're cute, but the bunnies fucking do their own thing. They don't even
But
want to be.
You've done like booty yoga. You've done like hot yoga.
Yeah,
which
hot yoga is a real
You
thing.
transcended on
Yeah,
that one.
I transcend regularly on that one.
And you haven't gone back since? Or
I've
okay.
been doing hot yoga regularly.
And
yeah.
you've been transcending every time? Or
Most times. When they fucking open the door to cool the room off,
It
I
kills
know
me.
they mean well with it. It takes me out of it because I feel like that's what I
That's
earn.
funny.
I feel like that's what I earn when it's
Like,
done.
done.
And like what it does, like the sweat, like building.
Yeah.
When we're at that final pose where we're just meditating, that's when it's best.
Yeah.
And they like when they open the door,
Feel.
all the sweat dries up, and I just feel kind of crusty, and I'm like, man,
I want to be
stupid.
sweaty.
Yeah. I don't know. I gave feedback once. anonymously. So
Don't
we'll see.
fucking open the windows.
No, but it's fucking packed. Like we'll be sitting this far apart, and they're like, "Scoot over. There's room for like 2 more."
Everyone is just
Damn.
into this shit.
The teacher's like, "Scoot over a little bit. There's room for like 2 more over there." I was
And I'm
like,
over here like it's still cold at night, and I still sleep with the fan on. Dude.
"Yeah, I do too."
You got to, dude.
So you
It's
haven't
hot.
gotten used to the heat, even though you're transcending every time.
That is my outlet for where I'm like, I'm
Man.
okay to be
I was
sweaty
here, like, I
as
can
fuck.
build up a tolerance. Apparently
Nah,
not.
I
though.
can't build up a ton.
Fuck.
And also, we got Comic-Con tickets thanks to
Oh yeah,
Karosha's friends.
Good
So we'll
idea.
be going to Comic-Con
like 2020.
Saturday, and I don't know.
Fucking every day.
Every day. Nintendo Lounge, catch us.
The
I'm going to
funniest thing is
Nintendo.
you're like, yeah, just Saturday for me.
I
guys.
just don't want
Wait
to
every day.
leave the fucking raffle of Comic-Con. I feel like once you're out,
Yeah,
you're
that was the
fucked.
biggest thing. I'm
You're
always
fucked, dude.
when you were like Saturday or nothing. I'm like, really nothing. Even if you don't want to stay in the raffle, you're like, all right, stay in the raffle.
Well, when you brought it up, I realized I was like, oh shit, that's right. And I was like, yeah, just Saturday or any fucking day, so I could just
Yeah.
stay in the raffle.
Yeah. So we'll be there, but that's next year with PS5s. You know,
Am I tripping or have prices just doubled? Comic-Con.
they've gone up. I don't know if it's like they're making it more variable because I feel like it used to be more consistent, like 40 to 50, and now it's like Saturdays, like they're bumping it up. But part of it is also, I don't know if in the past they've done processing fees because now they're giving more stuff when they mail it to you. You get like the pin, you get the box, get all this shit. Maybe that's part of it.
Can I opt out of it? Fuck, just put
No,
it back down to 30
you gotta
bucks
pay
for
me that shit. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool if you could be like, give me the minimum version of your ticket versus
And
like
then you
all
find
the
out
fluff,
that pin is like the worth $3,000.
and then you're like, fuck.
I'll pay for it now.
Yeah. All right, where can people find you guys?
They can find me at the Filio everywhere, but not really.
At the Last Bosses everywhere.
Find me at Could Your Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC. If you like this episode or any of our past episodes, please leave a review or
Comment, like,
something.
subscribe.
Yeah, smash that like button. Share the post. Retweet this Reddit post. Whatever. Yo, we'll
DLC.
You later.